Friends, Cowboy Joe Boo here. It's game day, and NFL Total Access is talking about the Cowboys and Patriots. And guess what? We're back to the good old 8-8 for the Cowboys by these guys.
Oh, now expectations this season are sky high. Have to do it without Dez Bryant.
He did break a bone in his foot.
Romo loses the ball, and Romo is down. It looks serious.
He does have a fractured collarbone.
It never feels good whenever you get hurt, especially with the way I feel about our football team.
The Dallas Cowboys have only one backup quarterback, Brandon Wheaton.
And Wheaton flushed out, going to throw on first down, and throws an interception. A really unsettling loss.
Brandon Wheaton sure is kind of a difficult time.
The Cowboys fall to 2-2.
All right, so let's take a look at some data here. Our friends over at Facebook sent us. This is fan approval rating, according to Facebook, from Dallas Cowboys fans. Pretty high after that Week 1 win versus the Giants, 87%. Now, this is a pretty optimistic fan base in the Cowboys in general.
And then took a dip.
Took a dip the day after Tony Romo's collarbone injury. It's down 63%.
I'm still on the Cowboys bus.
Didn't win that game, though, in Week 2. Now, back up Week 3, that after the loss to the Falcons. They also acquired Matt Castle after that game. And then went down about another 14 points after their second straight loss in Week 4 to the Saints. So sitting at about 65% right now, which means it is time now to up your game, delivered by Papa John's. And, well, we're going to talk Cowboys. Obviously, they're a team that needs to up their game after losing 2 straight. Brandon Wheaton, the quarterback for those 2 losses. And, well, to say that he's kind of gotten, had a bit of a rough go of it with the folks on Twitter, trying to tell him how to play quarterback. In fact, so much so that he responded and said, "I'm 32 years old. I don't need a 12-year-old trying to tell me how to play quarterback."
Well, I don't know. Cam Newton had a little kid tell him on a commercial.
He did. It's working all right for Cam.
Listen, maybe, who knows?
There are some folks over 12 years over 12 years old on Twitter, you guys in particular here. And I want to ask you, though, will the Cowboys now win a game without Tony Romo?
Yes.
He's out for another 6-7 more weeks here.
Yes. I mean,
here we go with the haters.
Tampa on there. Before Romo gets back, I mean, come on, Tampa, what's happening with Miami? There are a couple of get-right games on there. I mean, where whatever's ailing you, it can get right that week. You have a couple of those on the schedule before Tony Romo's scheduled to get back. So I imagine that they will definitely get a win in. You just asked me for one.
Well, I think a couple things come into play. I mean, you can look at the Eagles game Week 9 and say, man, if the Eagles keep losing, what's your term, a dumpster fire? I mean, you can see that team somewhat imploding. But you could also say this defense is going to get better. Greg Hardy's coming back. You're going to have Rolando McClain back this week.
Sean Lee's back.
You're going to have an aspect of this team getting better defensively. I think, Coach Garrett's going to kind of start pushing Brandon Wheaton out of his comfort zone a little bit, try to push this ball down the field a little bit more, not so much dink and dunks.
Well, that's been the thing, right, with Wheaton, because he's been efficient. His completion percentage has been up there. He just hadn't taken the big shots, right?
I'm okay with the way Wheaton's been playing. You just got to make a few more plays. You just haven't made enough to get these wins in the last 2 weeks.
The defense just has to step up.
Before Tony Romo comes back, remember, Dez is coming back.
Good point.
Yeah. They get better the moment he gets back on the field.
And where does that? I mean, where do you see that impact coming? Does that help the run game as well, then? Because we've seen it be pretty good here the last couple of weeks. Where's the biggest impact when Dez comes back?
Well, you've had Dez there in the past, and he's been able to make
Tony Romo.
Well,
right?
but still, Dez is going to garner a certain amount of attention, and we've seen them not have a running game with Tony Romo and Dez. Yeah. So I'm not so certain that it's going to come back just because he's out there. But we do know the scoring will come back, moving the ball, getting first downs. That all comes back, even if you don't get the running game back.
Well, if you ask, does it help the running game? Absolutely, because the first time Brandon Wheaton drops back, or Matt Castle for that matter, you have Dez streaking down the sideline, and you just take a 9-shot. That defense is going to start soften up because they know what the possibilities of Dez catching that ball.
And Dez did that last year. I mean, 2 years ago, and the year before that, and the year before that, and it didn't help the running game.
Well, they didn't have much of a run game. Last year, they had a big run game.
Well, that was DeMarco.
We asked, will the Cowboys win a game without Tony Romo? Heath, why don't you head over to the touchscreen and
figure it out.
Do your catalog and show us.
We love this time of the week, ED.
Don't fall.
Hater
I don't
time.
trip, buddy. I don't trip.
Yeah,
all right,
trip.
so
Trust
they're sitting
It's your turn to interact.
at 2-2. All right. Obviously, the Patriots coming off a bye week, probably not good. I'm going to give them that L here.
Okay.
I know they're going to get their bye week 6. The Giants, they got them week 1, we remember. Listen, I could see it going either way. I'm going to go ahead and give them an L there, ED. Anything to argue with?
No,
me there?
that's
Surprise,
one I'm kind of on the
surprise.
fence with, but I think I'm going to go with you. I think the Giants win that one at home.
Division rivals, they know each other. I mean, listen, I think we've started to see where this Seahawks defense is getting. I know this is in Big D, but I would still expect that to be a big L for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, week 9, this is where I think potentially Dez Bryant, this will be the 8-week mark. So if he gets back versus the Eagles, we just talked about the potential impact.
Yeah.
I think they actually get this W. The ability to run the ball, the ability to get Dez back, that defense should be hitting their stride. Hopefully they've stayed healthy.
I'm on the fence with that one.
Okay, but so we'll see. But they're sitting here at 3-5, minus their star quarterback at Tampa Bay.
That's a get-right game.
Dez back, let's give him a W. Miami Dolphins, ED, what do you think, buddy?
I'm thinking that's probably another get-right game.
Well, here's why. I think Romo, this will be the first week he's able to get back. So week 11, you get Tony back. I know it's in Miami, but if you have your full arsenal of weapons, let's give him that W. Now, ED, you know this team probably better than most. Defensively, this is always a struggle. You know what they bring to the table. We know how Cam's playing. Week 12, Carolina Panthers.
I think that's a win for Carolina.
You think it's so?
I think it's so.
All right, well, you're going to mess
It's your
up.
board, man.
You know what?
board.
You almost persuaded me, but you know what? With Romo back and Dez, Rod Marinelli in that defense, I think that's a W. Listen, here we go, a W again. So we get to the fourth quarter of the season. We're sitting at 7-5. Now look at this gauntlet right here, all right? At Green Bay, I'm going to go ahead and give them an L there. We know the matchup nightmares that this Jets defense create, the inability really to run the ball. I'm going to give them another L. Listen, this is a team, Buffalo, I know they're sitting at 2-2. I've talked about them trying to peak at the right time. They're built to be a
Jets
December
and
football
Buffalo?
team
Are you
with that
kidding me?
defense, their own run game, hopefully a healthy McCoy, and everything.
Orchard Park.
Yeah.
That's a rough place.
That's
in
going
week
to be
16.
chilly.
So I'm going to give them an L, and then we'll finish it off with a W. And I hate to say it, Dallas Cowboys fans, but I've got you back to 8-8, which I know you guys are all accustomed to. But inside this division, we would suspect the Giants would be better than that. We've even seen the Redskins play probably a better brand of football than what we expected. But who knows? 8-8, a split with the Giants inside the division. Maybe it's enough to actually win the thing.
Before it all started, that's what I had on the board for them, 8-8. I mean, I know what happened with Dallas last year, and I know the roster, but they've been a 500 ball club, except for that one season last year. And that's why I just assumed that they were going to get right back there looking at what had happened when the pieces that left, mainly the running game, I didn't think they were just going to be able to click it on. Now you throw in some injuries, that's where I see them. But that doesn't mean that they're out in this division.
And we want to talk about Tony Romo and Dez Bryant coming back, but on the defensive side of the ball, this week in particular, you're getting Greg Hardy, you're getting Rolando McClain. Maybe you get Randy Gregory here down the stretch, coming back from that high ankle sprain, and that defense starts getting rolling a little bit.
Well, that defense will hold its own. I mean, Rod Marinelli's always going to find a way to get some penetration, which messes up run game and pass game. And we've seen this offense be able to run the ball despite not having DeMarco. You put Dez and Tony back in there. Jason Witten has been pretty much absent the last couple weeks with Whedon at the helm. This team might just hit their stride at the right time.
Right. All right, so we asked you guys, will the Cowboys win a game without Tony Romo? And do we have the results? It's a tight one.
Barely.
Hashtag Cowboys, yes.
Well, the haters have spoken. We'll see what happens on the field.